Firefighters burned down elderly woman's home after discovering terrifying secret inside. Neighbor helps senior out by cleaning her house. He is immediately dumbfounded by what he finds. The next thing they know, it's burnt to the ground. Kevin Burns had just moved to Redding, California. But as soon as he moved in, something rattled him. As he pulled up to his home each night, he saw his neighbor sleeping and eating inside her car. He glanced at her house to see if it was still intact, and he wondered, what on earth is keeping her from going inside? Ruth Ratliff, a 68-year-old woman, was indeed living in her car, but Burns could not for the life of him understand why. Until one day, the temperatures outside were dropping. Fall was right around the corner, and he couldn't take it anymore. He had to know. It tore my heart. It broke my heart, Justin told a news station after their conversation. A 68-year-old woman sitting here in -degree weather just isn't right. Burns and Ruth quickly began to get to know each other, and he discovered more and more about her predicament. Ruth had no electricity or running water in her home, but Burns knew that this couldn't be the whole truth to the story, because just those two obstacles could be fixed. He didn't want to push the elderly lady any further, so day in, day out, he would visit her and try to piece the mystery together. Even though she lived in her car, the car was actually broken. So not only was she a homeless homeowner, but also, if she wanted to go anywhere, she would have to go by foot. Burns' heart sank every time he heard her talk about what her life was like, and immediately knew he had to anything, to help Ruth. But then one day, Ruth disclosed something to Burns. A heartbreak so big, it hit him in waves. This woman was dealing with so much more than what he had initially thought. As Ruth sat on her fold-out chair, she started to listen to Burns talk about his past and his memories. She sat there quietly listening to the young boy share his secrets with her. But then, in almost a whisper, she revealed something. "My home has become a dump," said Ruth, "because my very best friend died, and I lost my mind." This hit Burns like a ton of bricks, and now he finally understood. Ruth lost her husband a few years back, and was so profoundly taken over by the loss that she became numb and stopped maintaining her home, the home full of all their life's memories. But still, he had to help her and had everything planned out for the next couple of days. Burns got home one afternoon and saw Ruth fiddling with something in her car. She seemed distraught as he walked toward her. As he got closer, he saw her. Her chin trembled, and tears burst forth like water from a dam, spilling down her face. Ruth's kitchen was so overrun with bags, dishes, paper plates, boxes, old food, and stuff that she could no longer even use the sink, stove, or refrigerator to prepare meals. As Burns continued to discover Ruth's house, he saw what seemed to be just a simple metal shelf that was all rusted. But as he took a closer look, he noticed that something was behind it. He immediately pulled on the shelf, and it gave way to a secret room. What could Ruth be hiding? Was this why she was so secretive about her home? Inside one bedroom, which he assumed was Ruth's, he could see something poking out from the corner of one of the cabinets. It was the photograph of Ruth's parents. The picture had become worn, sun-bleached, and damaged. But still, the image of both of them smiling was picture perfect. He knew he would have to talk to Ruth about the secret room, but for now, one problem at a time. The firemen secured the perimeter and began igniting the house. Flames shot up and shined with all their glory, warming everyone in their way. But there was one crucial thing Burns had forgotten entirely. Shame overwhelmed him. He could not let this woman live in her car for the rest of her life. He needed help and knew exactly where to turn. Burns and Ruth looked at each other in excitement, but the two had formed such an enormous bond that the thought of Ruth being far made both their hearts ache.